Organized Play 2021, here it is, and let's talk about it. Hello everyone, and welcome to FECast episode 60, the long-awaited episode where we talk about Organized Play 2021. This is hot off the presses. The announcement was literally an hour ago from the time of this recording, and I have rounded up some of, my best friends in the game to talk about it. As always, we have the person who you can never keep quiet, Stormblessed.
Yeah, so last week I was a little bit more talkative than I perhaps wanted to be, but this week we have so many guests that I will give them a chance to shine, as it were.
I was really hoping Stormblessed wouldn't say anything there.
Oh, it would have been better! Oh!
All
Dang
right.
it! I regret everything. Everything.
I should also mention that Stormblessed and myself are both members of the 2020 world, so we're definitely looking to make a repeat appearance, and so is our first guest, who you may have recognized his voice from previous episodes of FECast. Welcome back, Collector.
Thank you.
We also have TheBoxer along for the ride.
Happy to be here.
And we have our favorite member of the Eternal community, and that is our lovely editor, as well as the tournament organized for Tuesday Night Eternal, Essarefess.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on such short notice. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in. This is what we've all been waiting for. I think that, you jump in Eternal Discords, no matter which Discord or how competitive they are, I feel like everyone's been waiting for this announcement, and here it is, and it does not disappoint. I think that they checked off all the boxes that they needed to check off and took in a lot of feedback and did a lot of cool things. So, yeah, Stormblessed, let's run down the announcement, shall we?
Of course. So it's roughly the same prize pool as last year, $100,000 overall. But this year, the big difference is that there's less seats at the table, so to speak. Instead of being 24 slots at Worlds, we're going back to 16 slots, just like Season 1. And what that means, though, is that the ECQs themselves, of which there are, well, they're not called ECQs anymore. So I guess that's like the biggest change, right? We always talk about ECQs. Now they're called Opens. Why did they change why they're called Opens now instead from ECQs?
I think that is probably because, like, in card games, when you hear the word open as far as a tournament goes, you know what to expect. And ECQ is, well, it's a term near and dear to all of our hearts. To someone that isn't already an invested Eternal player, probably might not know exactly what that is.
Also, there's multiple ways to qualify for the championship, so that's a little bit confusing that, with the name there.
It's true. So just to do the basic rundown, the esteemed Lights Ace gets to be the returning champion. Then we have 9 Eternal Open winners for 3 pseudo mini seasons. Then we also have 4 last chance qualifiers that will be either if you have sustained strong play throughout the season, either 2 top 4s or 2 or more top 16s, you will get a shot at these last chance qualifier seats. And then finally, we also now have 2 community tournament winner slots for the spring and summer seasons of Tuesday Night Eternal in the future. So this is a bunch of really exciting changes.
Yeah, I just want to clarify something. Those last chance qualifiers, if you get top 4 in 2 or more of these 9 tournaments that qualify for Eternal Worlds, you are automatically seeded into Worlds. This is the first time that it's been possible for players to win spots at Worlds that weren't designated by the tournament.
So having the ability to qualify through just having multiple top 4s benefits certain individuals, specifically some people on the call, such as TheBoxer, who, if they hadn't managed to win a ECQ, they would have actually still qualified under this new system because they did achieve multiple top 4s last year without getting the first place. So, Boxer, how do you feel about the opportunity to prove your worth without having to truly win a whole tournament?
This is fantastic. We've heard this so many times, but there are a lot of great players who are close to making it into Worlds, but missed just because things didn't quite break for them in the top 4. This might be one of my favorite changes they did this time.
Our esteemed editor, Essarefess, quickly compiled a table of players that achieved 2 or more top 4s in the 2020 season. And since you compiled the data, why don't you go over it, Essarefess?
Yeah, this is from the Eternal History Project, which is that big spreadsheet I put together. Wow, what was it? Way back in September. That listed maybe not everything, but as much data as I could find from the different competitive events. So I just narrowed it down to only show the data from first, second, third, or fourth. And of those, I just narrowed it further to find people who had 2 or more of those. Turns out we had, I think it's 8 people who had those. Out of those, 4 people won and 4 people didn't. So there would have been 4 people qualified.
Why don't you go over the names on this list, because I think it's worth noting.
The people who had 2 or more day 2 top 4s that won their event were TheBoxer, Collector, both here, Sunyveil, also here, and Virgin Mary. The people who would have qualified were this last chance qualifier system in place are A Rank 13, Gerg APM, Keith Pellig, and ZDCH.
So just looking at this list of players, like, obviously unbiased, but it seems like these are players that I would be happy to have a world spot, without actually having to win something. If they've demonstrated that they can top 4 2 events, 2 out of these 9 events, then I think that's good enough for me, right? And the evidence, right, this list of players supports that. These are all people that I think are people I'd be happy to see at Worlds. Obviously biased. It's worth mentioning that it's also going to be significantly harder with only 9 events to place in, as opposed to, you said 16, right, that this data is taken from?
There was 16 or 17 competitive events that would have put you in for the system. If you discount like the last chance qualifier, you discount the draft championship, I believe there are 16 constructed tournaments that would work for this.
Yeah, it also includes the winter championships and
yes.
so on.
Yeah, it also includes the quarterlies. So the other amusing thing is that Darrell also stated that if more than 4 people get multiple top 4s, they will just bump up the seats in Worlds as necessary. Now, I think that's incredibly unlikely, considering that last year we would have only seen 3 or 4 people qualify under the system. So we, with more tournaments, but theoretically we could have indefinite numbers of Worlds competitors.
There's a limit to the number of top 4 slots there are, though.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm exaggerating slightly, but what probably will end up happening is the last remaining slots of, because we're probably not going to see all 4 fill up, will have a special invitational tourney similar to the one from season 1. And in this case, instead of a point system based on where you slot in, you just get an invite to this invitational if you have multiple top 16s. So you get rewarded for consistent high performances in multiple capacities.
Yeah, and that's not going to be a very large field, right? Multiple top 16s. I mean, yeah, especially over just 9 tournaments, that's going to be a pretty cool field to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be less than 100 for sure. Probably less than 50.
Well, they have to be. Yeah, it's gonna be a very small tournament. It will also be very exciting to watch, because again, the tournaments like the last chance tournaments and obviously World itself, just the high level of competitive play, are exciting to watch.
Oh yeah, honestly, the invite tournament from season 1 I thought had a stronger field than Worlds did. No offense to anyone else in Worlds, like the first Worlds, but the invite season was stacked.
Yeah, you of course were part of the Worlds field, right? So I don't think you're trying to offend yourself. All right, so just to reiterate, we have 1 reigning champion, Lights Out Ace, 9 Eternal Open winners, 2 community tournament winners, and 4 last chance qualifiers. Do we know much about the community tournament qualification method based on what Tuesday Night Eternal is doing right now? There's a point system, and a number of open tournaments roughly once a week, and winners plus the top 4 or more wildcards, depending on the number of slots remaining, get invited to an invitational at the end. And I assume that this is going to happen twice, and the winners of both invitationals, or maybe the top 2 of one invitational, are going to get qualifications. Do we know how this is going to work?
I found out along with everybody else. So
oh wow,
I'll put that out of the way. Even though I'm TOing this, Telemocos has kept pretty tight lips. He did message me afterwards, and said that we were given 2 invites to use, and they're going to be awarded to the winners of the Spring Invitational and the Summer Invitational. So we're, after our Winter Invitational, this one won't have one for the official events. That's going to be March 6th, and then we're going to start the new season soon after that. Then from there, that's how it'll work. It'll be a similar structure probably to how the winter season worked, with the opens every week and then point systems and some qualifiers.
I just want to say good for you guys. Like, it's amazing the level of production that has gone behind Tuesday Night Eternal and the amount of work that you two do in order. And I don't know, is there more to the team? Is it just you two?
It's just us two. Well, I can't take too much credit. I keep things running smoothly on the back end so that Telmokas can do all the fancy production stuff on the front end without having to be too distracted.
I suppose it's worth crediting the commentators also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like, it's a high quality product, putting this tournament series on every week. So it's great to see that, it's being incorporated in the official Worlds qualification this year. So good on you. Maybe we'll reach out to Telmokas to see if we can get like a short snippet of, his thoughts on the matter before we release this. But, just great to hear.
Yeah, definitely. It's super exciting, super hyped about this. Looking forward to see how things shake out. He did say the details aren't finalized yet, and we'll be announcing them soon.
All right. Can I say that my favorite change for the Opens is that they've announced them 3 months in advance?
Oh my goodness. Yes, let's get into that. Okay. So, Eternal 5K Opens. These are essentially ECQs, although they do have a few differences. So first of all, they're going to include Throne, Expedition, and Draft. Another piece of great news for us draft lovers. It looks like there's probably going to be 3 of each for 3 different sets, right?
Yep, that's how we're reading it.
Just to clarify the sentence that we are interpreting here, because we are the Direwolf Digital Whisperers, we speak for Direwolf apparently, is they have, going forward, each new Eternal set will be celebrated in marquee tournament events for each of our main competitive formats: Throne, Expedition, and Draft. So this says our first events of the 2020 competitive season will take place: Stormbeak Throne Open, March 26th to 28th, April Expedition, April 16th to 18th, May Draft, May 7th to 8th. And so what it implies is that with each new set release, we are going to get a tournament for each set to, demonstrate how the set has impacted each of the main formats. And the first new set we have it looks like it's going to be titled Stormbeak.
Stormbreak.
Stormbreak. Why did I called it Stormbeak beforehand? These guys corrected me. I still called it Stormbeak. Whatever. It's going to be a set with birds. There's going to be lots of birds in the set. They're not going to be breaking. They're going to be beaking.
Hearing it here first, guys.
All right, so we're obviously all thrilled that we're getting these tournament dates beforehand. Stormblessed, are you thrilled?
Oh, I hope that they keep this up and that, in May they announce the next 3 months and don't just, leave us hanging.
Yes. They have done this before, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, also I hope that they announce the event sooner because, the schedule for the 5K Opens should impact the schedule on Tuesday Night Eternal, because presumably Tuesday Night Eternal won't want to compete with the 5K Opens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's no reason to. It's just not the best situation for both sides. So maybe that'll encourage Direwolf to announce the tournament sooner. Who knows?
Yeah. TheBoxer, are you thrilled about this?
This is great. Yeah, I did not expect us to get more communication on dates. I wanted it, but, realistically, I expected them to say, oh, there's probably one this month, and nothing more.
I mean, they do say at the end of this, future dates to be announced later with an open around once each month, but hopefully they'll keep up this precedent. Collector, are you thrilled about this?
Definitely.
All right. Great. Okay, so the event structure is a little different, and I will admit I'm not completely clear on how this is, but it does have the first day of 28 games of best of ones. The top 64 players are going to play on Sunday, single elimination bracket. They don't say explicitly best of 3, but I assume so. I don't see any reason they would want to change it. They say that they're going to issue an alt art card for each of these events, which is something that they've already been doing. There's a cash prize. So the total cash prize is 5K for each of these, which I believe is more than it was previously, right? There are just fewer events because I remember getting 1K for my victory.
This past year was 3K, but I believe the first season was 5.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Just looking at the numbers here. So there is something having to do with mastery medallions. Does somebody want to explain this for me? Because I've read it through twice and I'm still not 100% clear on it.
So if you reach masters in any format, you will get mastery medallions. You can use those when entering these opens to get yourself 2 buys in the opens. So, instead of having to win X out of the 28 rounds, you can start off 2-0 and get a little advantage over people who didn't hit masters in the previous month. I imagine most the super competitive people will all have the 2 buys, so I don't know how much it actually affects anything. But then also, if you use the mastery medallions when you enter these opens, you will get the premium versions of the alt art cards instead of just the normal alt art.
All right, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you're right. If you're preparing for a tournament, you're probably hitting master in the format. So it basically means that you have to hit masters to be in these tournaments, and if you do, it's a 26 round tournament instead of 28 round. I guess there could be people that qualify without hitting masters, but just based on past winners, that seems just pretty unlikely, right?
The buys were a lot more important in the 15 round tournaments, but when you go up to 28 rounds, it just gets a lot less important, right?
That's true.
I mean, it's still going to be helpful, obviously, but it's just more marginal.
If you interpret it as a 26 round Swiss event, before you had to get 19 to be safe. With the buys, you maybe 18 will be safe. We don't exactly know because we haven't seen how the math will work out, but it could be 18 or 17 wins is considered safe with the buy system, or it could be that 19 is still safe because the thing is the buys mean that you do have you're gonna have worse tiebreakers, right?
Tiebreakers are dependent on the opponent's score when you verse them. So honestly, the 2 buys, we're not really sure because they've never specified, but they may not count towards tiebreakers at all, positively or negatively, or they might. It's, no one knows. Then they will probably not tell us.
And just to clarify what Stormblessed said, I believe you mean 18 wins on top of the 2 buys. So basically your final record will be 20-8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Yes. We don't know, but yeah, that's my assumption is that instead of having to win 19 games, you'd have to win 18 games.
Oh shoot! This means that I have to hit masters in the next 2 days.
Me too.
For the month.
No. You can still.
You don't get any for February.
Yeah.
They haven't added them in client yet, but in March when you get them, they won't show up immediately because they're still working on getting them in client. But they did say at the bottom that they will be retroactively granted to anyone who hit master on or after March 1st.
Oh, okay. So
you can ignore
just
February.
For March.
Yeah, ignore February.
Okay. Well, I still need to get that head start. I need to hit master so they'll start off in gold instead of silver or bronze or whatever.
Sure.
And of course, the thing is that you don't have to get. I mean, this probably won't impact the people that are listening to this or talking about this right now. But you don't have to reach masters in the event of the tournament. You can reach masters in any format. So if you're just a solid draft player, but you still want to just pop into the constructed tournaments for funsies, it looks like that you can just make masters in any format and then still play the tournament of the other format and still achieve this mastery medallion.
Yep, this is basically just a bonus reward for saying thank you for staying engaged with the game outside of tournament play.
Yeah. And, masters in one format once a month, that's not that much. That's like a baseline of playing Eternal versus being on a break.
And just also for everyone out there, these medallions last a month basically. So if you get it in March, you can use it for the March or April tournament. But you have to use it by the end of April or it goes away.
So a little bit of complexity to this. What do you guys think? Is this a positive change or neutral or possibly negative? I'm just on a this is neutral. I don't think this will affect very many people in very strong ways.
I think it's positive. It's an incentive for playing more to hit master. Even if it's not huge, anything that gets people into the queues more is good. So
I think this change is mostly neutral. I think overall it's probably a positive, especially when we can, when all like the little hiccups are ironed out. It's certainly better than the QCP system from the first quarterly of season 2, where it was just duels. That was just a nightmare of a system. So this is a much better mastery system. Instead of having a masters challenge, this is trying to incentivize masters in a different form. In a sense, this actually incentivizes more masters than the masters challenges of old. Because before you just reach masters once across what was like a 3 or 4 month period, and you get into the event with your 5 QCPs or something. Or is that just draft? Never mind. I'm forgetting how math works and numbers in the old system. We have a new system now. Who cares about the old system? It's all about the new system.
Yeah. Okay. So overall, I'm a huge fan of this system. One other thing to keep in mind is I think that the competitive season is just going to be 3 months shorter than the last one, or maybe not 3 months, but it is going to be shorter because the last one lasted from
It was like October 2019 to what was it, like August or something of
yeah,
2020.
it was like 12 months, and this one is 9 months. 9 months of tournaments, right?
Well, 9 months of the opens, and then there will be probably a month for the last chance, assuming that there's a slot open, and then the community tournaments. We don't know exactly how those are going to fit in there, but they may or may not overlap on months. So I mean, we're probably looking at 10 or 11 months before the season finishes.
Okay, so maybe it's not actually that much shorter. I thought that was like a pretty reasonable excuse for why we would have, fewer spots at Worlds. But I'm not too opposed to a 16-person Worlds versus a 24-person Worlds either. But I mean, just the fact that we're going to have a schedule, hopefully, of opens, that we're going to have community tournaments into the mix, and that we're going to have last chance qualifiers set up this way. I really like the way it's set up. I am just thrilled about this excitement, and I'm ready to, get back on the piloting club and take a look at my play really closely again, and try to come up with the best strategy. So this is really getting me fired up.
I'm really thrilled for the community tournaments, because I think it's really cool, because what Direwolf is effectively doing in a sense is they're sort of outsourcing a more regular tournament system, or a more regular, like more regular, I guess, regular tournament system, right? Because before they had to have more frequent tournament system, where they had to do it themselves, and so they had a bunch of tournaments, and they were all like the same amount of high stakes. They were all, the quarterlies and the ACCQs, as Clay said, was a little bit confusing because they were all the same amount of high stakes. So it's nice that there is this, tiered system, right, where you have sort of the sort of quote unquote premium tournaments that are one and done singular events. You can spike it, or in this case, now you get rewards for doing well. But you also have the community tournaments, which will be this more open system of weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, where you can get in, you can get a point system, you can try reaching the invitational, you can go that way. And so I think it's a very good system to have a more regular structure for eternal playing, while maintaining the high quality of Direwolf tournaments.
I'm interested to see again how the community tournaments will affect the ECQs and vice versa, because in season 1, like the ECQs often looked like a mirror of the top decks of the community events, and then like a couple people beating those with certain archetypes and just rocketing to the top. So we'll see if it follows certain patterns it has in the past.
All right. So, Tuesday Night Eternal just became a whole lot more relevant, but we've been covering it this entire time, and we will continue to do so. So, we had 2 challenges since the last episode of FECast. They were one with Apple Chips, with Volk Sentinels. Apple Chips winning their 3rd. I don't think there's a player that is hotter than Apple Chips right now. Also participated in Worlds and doing well in the official Eternal circuit. And we also had Bottled Gin winning with 3 faction soldiers. Both of these are in Expedition. So with these 2 tournaments, we have our entire lineup for the Tuesday Night Eternal Invitational. Securing wildcard slots were Ash, Acer, Yurik Yu, WSG, Ron, and Kolakoma. So the entire field is going to be Apple Chips, Bottled Gin, Stormguard, 798, TheBoxer. Congratulations, TheBoxer. Good luck. The Brigand, Prakalakin, Doc 28, Spifferific, Beowulf, Saris, The Overmaster, Ip Longno, Ash Acer, Yurik Yu, WSG, and Kolakoma.
Telmokos was telling me the other day, after the final event, he did some calculations, Apple Chips across the entire season, across all the matches, he went 33-12.
Wow.
Yeah. And the next highest was the Overmaster with 25 wins for the season.
That's really cool. Glad you guys have been keeping statistics on it.
So you're saying that Apple Chips is the Sunyveil of the Tuesday Night Eternal Winter season?
Yeah.
Brings home a lot more trophies than I do. Anyway, the Winter Invitational date is going to be March 6th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What day of the week is March 6th? Saturday. Okay, so if you want to watch it on Saturday afternoon, that's where you can find it. And it's going to be broadcast at twitch.tv/Telemocos.
Yes.
I'd recommend showing up if you enjoy FECast, because a certain Stormblessed will also be joining Telemocos in the casting booth for this final Winter Invitational. So I'm looking forward to casting this because, as I said at the beginning, these are some of the best players in Eternal. We have four 2020 Worlds competitors here, and just a bunch of other good names for people that aren't in Worlds. Like Iplong knows a classic staple. The Burgund is known for their control decks, and just all sorts of just excellent players. Speaking of the Burgund, I just want to ask the Boxer, because the Boxer's round one opponent is the Burgund. Do you expect Burgund to take some sort of control abomination? If so, do you plan on teching against the Burgund's control abomination?
I've already started talking to my teammates about this. I was like, okay, so if I tech hard for control, I only need to win one more match after that to make top 8. And like, okay, how many junkyards do I put in my deck?
Is the Invitational Expedition or Throne? I don't remember.
Both.
It's both?
There's going to be the 3 rounds of Swiss to start with in Expedition. And after that, we'll cut to a top 8 using Throne decks.
I see.
Exciting stuff. Looking forward to it. Okay, on to some old news, but something that we didn't cover. We have a new promo. I think this came out last week. It's been a while. We have Inoa, Elevator Overseer. It's a 4-cost Fire Justice 4/4 Oni. The first time you play an attachment each turn, you get +4 power this turn. So this seems pretty good to me. If you can play this and then say like a Stormholt Knife or something, all of a sudden you got a free 4/4 that has some interesting threats with regard to boosting your power on the next turn. And if you just play it fairly, I think that like it's enough of a threat that if you just play it out and getting +4 power on the next turn, I think that this card is, well, it's a threat. I think it's a real card and it shouldn't be ignored.
So I've ignored this card till now. I just hadn't really paid attention to it, but I just now noticed if you're playing the Amplify combo deck and you're using a Martial Efficiency, this is a better rate than the Overloader because that makes all those curses. It's attachments, right?
Oh, it's only the first attachment.
Oh, the first time. Okay, sorry, misread that.
So like anything under 4 Amplify will be the same. Like 4 or less Amplify, this is like fine, and then 5 or more Amplify is better than Overloader. But
yeah, you could tell I haven't been paying attention because I literally just missed the first time part on the card. I thought it was like every single one of those would get +4
the first
power.
time's unfortunate because otherwise, like, what's the card? Zalia or something like that? You could just wipe their entire board. Yeah, just Zalia, pay 4, put -2, -1 affliction on something. So
yeah, this is a real card. The rate is pretty decent, and if you activate it once, you got a free 4/4. If you activate it twice, you win up 4 power. I don't know where this fits, but I think it'll see play at some point. It just feels too powerful not to.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have an application in mind either, but it just, free 4/4. when we touch the word free to anything, that's where things start getting dangerous. Of course, it does have to survive, or you have to play it, then something else. But like even this plus a permafrost, like I don't know, that's not the craziest thing in the world.
I'm honestly, I don't think I'm the biggest fan of Iona. I want to like Iona, I really do, but there's just something about it that just makes me. Free 4/4 is cool, but like you don't get it early. Where if unlike Sand Warrior, which you could get on turn 2 or 3, Iona, Inoa, you get. So dang it, Sonny, you're making me call it Iona. Inoa is just a little slow and a little like, relics are not. Oh no, it's any attachment. I guess you're not thinking about attachments. It's just it's weird. I guess attachments mean it doesn't have to be just relics. So like, what are good cheap attachments? I know these guys have been talking about it, but
Think about it this way: free Caleb's Persuader. Now, how do you like it?
Ooh, I mean, I do really like Caleb's Persuader. I used to put Caleb's Persuader on Sodi's Spellshaver, just draw a bunch of cards. That was a good time.
How did you put a weapon on a weapon?
Well, I put it on the same unit. That's what I meant. Yeah, I put a weapon. I put my if I play, what is it? If I make it a relic weapon, I play Treasury Gate. Then put it on my weapon on my weapons. It's a foolproof plan. Door Knocker. Boom. That's putting a weapon on a weapon.
Sounds like you gotta be a fool to do it.
Yes, and I think you have to be a fool to play Inoa. That's my final answer. I think this card is a fun meme combo card, but I'm not sure how much potential it actually has.
All right, well, we'll see what Inoa does in Constructed. Okay, so that gets us up to date with everything. And so I guess it's now time for my announcement. So, the Friends of Eternal Team League. I've teased it in the last couple of episodes. I'm still not quite done with the details. I did not know some of the things that were going on with the announcement of the organized play for this season. I'm going to just double check to make sure everything works the way I want it to. But the way this is going to work is that we will have a team league that's open to all. It's free entry. There's going to be at least $1,000 in prizes, $1,000 US. Teams are going to consist of 5 players. The top 4 teams are going to enter in a modified playoffs at the end of the season. Results are going to be based off of ECQs similar to the Fantasy League, but unlike the Fantasy League, you aren't going to own other players in the Friends of Eternal Team League. You will have to be playing for your own team. So, for example, I wouldn't be surprised if the Barbarian Camp fields both Stormblessed and Collector, and if they do well and they take down the playoffs, they're going to win the first place prize of some hundreds amount of dollars. The details are yet to be determined, but you can be sure that I'll be shouting it out as much as possible when it is ready, because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think that team events are awesome, and while this is kind of a fantasy event, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's still going to be enough of a team event to be something that people are really going to enjoy in that way.
I mean, last year's fantasy league, it was very short in some respects. I think it was only across 3 ECQs, and it was still very enjoyable. I'm a simple man. I liked it.
Collector, did you see the post that I made when I showed this off? I know that Essarefess saw it, and Stormblessed, I figure you took a look at it.
No, I actually missed it.
Oh, okay. So this is news to you?
Yep, I'm like, what?
Are you excited about this?
Yeah, I am. So this is going to be similar to the player drafting thing that we did last season, right? Or is this like an actual, the teams play each other thing?
No, the teams aren't going to play each other. Points are going to be accumulated via placement in the opens. I was going to say ECQs, but I guess those are a thing of the past now. But yeah, so I will take a look and see if I'm going to be including any other events in that, or if I'm going to change up the scoring system with regards to community tournaments. But, well, I really don't know what's entirely going to happen there. But it is going to be if I get a top 64, I get 1 point. And if one of my teammates get a top 32, they get 2 points. And if someone makes the finals but loses, they get 6 points or something. I forget what that is. And then the point total is going to be paired against another team, and then the winner is going to be the one that gets more points.
This is really cool. I like the change from last year. Okay, drafting players in a fantasy way is fun, but getting to be involved with this and playing on a team and rooting on other people, but also having it open to, this isn't excluding people who don't have an official team, and have those 3 letters in front of them in Discord. You can just find 4 other people who you want to be your team for this. Yeah, I like it a lot.
That's great to hear. I'm super excited for it. And don't worry, there will still be the Friends of Eternal Fantasy League going alongside this. They're going to be scored on the same point system, I believe. So it'll be easy enough to run them side by side. But yeah, look forward to that. If you are out there, if you have a team, look forward to participating in this and competing against, all the other top teams out there. If you don't have a team, I think Friends of Eternal is probably going to be looking for a couple of free agents, but I'm sure there are also going to be other teams out there looking for people willing to compete week in, week out for, well, I guess month in, month out in the Eternal competitive scene. That are looking for a reliable player that can do well. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be money given out to people. I'm excited about
Can
it.
we swap players between tournaments? Because not everyone's going to be able to make every tournament, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty similar to the Fantasy League, where as long as you post your roster changes before the tournament starts, then it'll be set for that
All right,
tournament.
sounds good.
There's no restriction on it. So like, you know, if 1 week Collector can't make it, you guys can swap him off the roster for who else is on TBC. The Overmaster? Is the Overmaster on TBC?
Yeah, Theo and
now?
Mail
Okay.
are the most recent joins.
All right. Yeah. So like you can have someone on the bench
So
that fills in for someone
so wait,
else.
so you're saying that there's sort of two of them. There's the fantasy team part, and then there's like just like a team league part.
Yeah, so there's the Fantasy League, and then there's the Team League, which is new, and
Okay.
that's the one with the actual prize, and the one with the playoffs, and the one that I'm talking about.
I see.
Yeah, I'm not giving out not giving out a cash prize for Fantasy League.
Okay.
I like it, but I don't like it that much.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense. I was well. So the acronyms are, you know, you have FETL and FEFL. They just look very similar in in Google Docs. So I was confused because they just look so similar to me that I just got them mixed up. I got an F and a T mixed up. Okay, look, sometimes you just mix up your F's and your T's, and then I don't know, everything all works out.
And Stormblessed, only you mix up your fire and time sigils. So
Look, it's called Vision Value. It's not Fire Control Collector. It's Vision Value.
I'm wondering what like a terrible roster change for one league that is an amazing roster change for another league would be. Like if you screwed it up and you're in both leagues and you're just try to do something and do it in the wrong league.
Well,
but I mean, any move that's good in one league is probably good in the other league.
Well, actually, there is one big difference between the opens, and that is that there are constructed opens, there are draft opens. So you might have a good player in draft, but who's not as good in constructed, or vice versa.
Wait, but that's going to be part of the fantasy league anyway.
Sure.
Anyway, this is getting into the nitty gritty that I'm sure that most people are not too interested in. We'll have a discussion in the fantasy section of the Friends of Eternal Discord. If you are interested, it will probably just be run through the Friends of Eternal Discord. I was thinking about talking to some people and seeing if I could get like a permanent web home for it, just in case people are looking for information about it, because there is a cash prize. But nothing is finalized yet. Anyway, this is something that's been going on in my head over the last few months, and I'm excited to get it off the ground. And I'm excited about the 2021 competitive season announcement. Like that's really the big news. Let's be real here.
Yeah, almost 1 month from today, right?
Yep, roughly.
March 26th. Today is February 26th, so that's about almost 1 month from today.
Yeah. Looking forward to all the drama that takes place in an Eternal competitive season, like who's going to be the newest guest on Friends of Eternal, FECast, after beating TheBoxer. Which one of you is going to beat me in an open tournament in like one of the last few rounds, and I'm going to invite you on and be like, well, I lost to you, but I suppose you can be on the cast this
Beat
week.
you in the top 8 just to ensure that you don't get the top 4.
Oh god.
So yeah,
which team is going to put 3 people in the top 4 but fail to take home the trophy?
I mean, I'll take 3 of our team members in top 4. Like that puts us in a real good slot at getting somebody into Worlds later. Like,
yeah, that's half of a qualification each. That's 1.5 qualifications as opposed to the 1 qualification.
Yeah, that's just math.
That's just math. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me, especially on such short notice. Let me just give a quick shout out to our patrons at patreon.com. These folks help sustain Friends of Eternal and FECast and let us put out a show each week. So thank you so much to Prewibben, Work Done Son, Chamomile, Crissier, D-Dub, and Yeast Out for their continued support of FECast. And thank you again to Essarefess for editing this 5-track monstrosity that we have placed on their shoulders.
You're welcome.
And also look forward to hopefully more regular episodes of FECast now that we have a more regular tournament schedule.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to be covering Tuesday Night Eternal every week, right? That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, especially now that Tuesday Night Eternal has a path to World. Everything's just more exciting, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Best of luck in this new exciting age of competitive Eternal. Until next time, we will see you in the friend zone. The Friends of Eternal Discord is the best place on the internet to get better at Eternal. We have players of all skill and experience levels all happy to help each other out on basically any aspect of their Eternal gameplay. And making all this possible is our generous patrons over at patreon.com. If you'd like to support FECast or Friends of Eternal, consider donating at patreon.com/Friends of Eternal. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, we'll see you in the friend zone. We got the new announcement. No, that's not good.
Organized play.
Sunny has to do this 4 times before it gets to a perfect one.
Yes, that's the secret.
Break out a saxophone.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-da.